Good evening. I was missing in action last week. Well, I was about, but um, I don't know what the story was. I don't know what the mother and the glory was. I didn't. I'll say a few words for what it's worth about a few meetings very quickly. Going back to last Saturday, the provincial meeting was on at Newcastle, up there in the coalfields. The track was good. The rail was 6 metres out. There was a bit of a breeze blowing, and there was no bias on the track. You could be up near the lead, or you could run on. Now that's got that out of the way. You've learned a lot from that already. Write all this down, make you win, you know. It's the difference between winning and losing. Now last Saturday at Randwick, the headquarters, we had a good track. No, we had a dead track. I wouldn't know whether it was good or dead. The rail was 11 metres out from the 1,000 to the post, and it was 9 metres out the remainder. And we only had one leader get home, and that was the Ball of Muscle, I think, yes, in race 4. But it did drew barrier 6 in a field of 7, and he came across and found the bunny, Father Schofield, trained by Joseph Pride. Geez, that Joe Pride, what a great trainer, that Joe Pride. I tell you what, if you're a Captain Cookie, you just, well, for me, I don't know how the other captains handle it, but for me, I just, from now on, I'm just going to put a line through his runners. You don't, if you lay them, every time I stand one of his runners, they just, the judge has got to hide. They get to the line with these big set of gnawing teeth, and every time I don't lay them, they're tailed off. Anyway, this Ball of Muscle last Saturday, it found the bunny. It was the way this race was run, I think, because she did have another rabbit drawn close to the fence, the favourite. It was the second ticket, say $2.80, Ball of Muscle. We had that little bunny rabbit, Alberto Magic, in box 2. And once it never found the bunny, well, it doesn't chase. Well, anyway, it was the only leader to win that day. And the reason being, it wasn't because the rail was out so far, it was the wind. It was the wind that was blowing very strongly that day at Randwick last Saturday, out of the northeast. And when they were coming down the Time and Tide, down the side, oh well, the leaders were running into it. And it didn't help them at all, so it was best to come off the pace. So now I'm putting cash in your kick. I'm putting section in your sky. So that was that meeting. Now we went to the farm, the bomb city, Beirut. We went to the farm on Wednesday. The track was good. The rail was 3 metres out, and there was only a light nor'easter blowing, and it was a classic there during the day. Some good boy came up and said, do you bet best flucked? And I said, excuse me. He said, I said, oh yes, I know what you mean. Which one did he want to back? I think it got the cash. It was a favourite. What was it? It was an Avery. It was an Avery that won. Terra Mater it was. Yeah, that was it. Race 3. He said, I want to have 600 Oxfords on this. I said, yes, all right, I'll bet you best flucked. He said, all right, I'll go and get the six spots. I said, oh, yes, you do that, son. So he went away, and lo and behold, he went to an ATM machine at the track. He came back. He said, will you still bet me best luck? I said, yes, I will. He said, well, there's 6 spots. He gave us the cash. We gave him the brief, and off he went. But when he was only just out the front of the stand, and my clerk was checking the 6 spots, and it was a lemon short. It was $50 short. So he said, excuse me, mate, you're a little bit shy here, son. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're $50 short. You're a lemon short. He said, oh, sorry. And he put his hand in, well, he had another lemon in his pocket, and he gave us the lemon. So that was that. And then he took off, and he went back into where the ATM machine was, where he got it out of, I suppose. And lo and behold, there was the lemon still sitting in the wherever it comes out. I've never used one of those ATM machines. Anyway, there was the lemon sitting in the fancy. The old day, it wouldn't have been sitting there in the old days. And between you and me, neither would the machine. They'd take the machine and all. But there was the lemon sitting there, and he came back and he said, yes, you were right. He said, the lemon was still in the tray. And he got it out, and he had his 600 Oxfords on it, and it got the cash, a good ride by Horseman Bowman. He only went around the leader. If he had to go around another runner, he wouldn't have won. But anyway, got the cash, $1.60. And on that day, oh no, no more for the favourite. I can't go on. Oh, look, just hang on a second. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Now, anyway, that day, there was only one leader to win. Who is it? Oh my God. Hello? Yes, Heckle, what did you want, mate? Can I tell you the Flux, the last race in Perth? No, I can't, because I'm doing this very important show that everybody wants to watch. There's at least a half a dozen people out there watching, and I'm doing it now, so you'll have to try and, can you get it somewhere else? Ta-da. Bye. Oh my God. So anyway, that day at Warwick Farm, there was only one leader to win, and that was in the distance race, Habitual Offender, ridden by jockey James McDonald, had the inside alley. He went straight to the lead. And they said in the paper and in the race book and all the form guides that this race was a 2,200 metre race. Well, I can assure you it was only an 800 metre race, because they walked around to the 800 metre mark, and then they said, let's race from here to the winning post. And that's what they did, and they couldn't catch the leader. He won by 2 3/4 lengths. It was just a sprint home. It was the only leader to win, and it was best to come off the pace at Warwick Farm. I can't keep on putting all this section in your kicks by telling you all these trick shots I've got up my sleeve. Now we went to Gosford on Thursday, and well, the track was good, and the rail was 3 metres out from the 1100 to the post, and there was a breeze switching and coming from the northwest, then the northeast, then the northwest, and then the north. It didn't have any effect on the leaders. And as the day went on at Gosford on Thursday, the 13th, only 2 days ago, it was quite evident that the 18 pence was a fair dinkum lap start. No, it wasn't a lap start. It was a few length start. So that adds a little bit of merit maybe to the first winner, Axonite, because it came from back in the field and came down the outside. And I thought at one stage when he went to gather the reins, I don't know what happened to that brilliant Brenton Abdullah, but he nearly fell off. But he gathered them up and he got it home by 0.1 of a length, beating the Avery, Hawaiian Rose, who sat outside the leader. And he got him right in the post. Now, it came from behind around them, and as the day went on, it was quite evident that up the inside at Gosford on Thursday, leading on the fence and saving ground on the fence, was a bit of a start. Now, you're going to start handing over for all this really good information I'm telling you. You know, you see me at the track, just come up, and I always got the bag open in the front, and you can just, I'll close my eyes, and you can put it in an envelope and just drop it in my bag and say, thank you, I listened to your review, and I think this is what I owe you for all the great information that you told me. We went to Canterbury last night, Canterbury Park, and well, said the farmer in the dell. Now, there was only 1 leader to get home at Canterbury last night, and it was very similar to Randwick last Saturday. We had a very strong northeasterly blowing. Now, the track was good, the rail was in the normal position, and the 1 leader to get home was in the second race, to my despair, because I took this Avery on Lockroy, and ridden by jockey James McDonald, he was going to get trapped outside the leader at one stage, but he kicked up and he found the bunny, and he held on a little bit too strong to win by 0.3 of a length, beating the second pick. The punters got him 1-2. I don't know about that race because captain who took on the favourite in that race could have been a bit stiff because there was a late scratching in the form of number 4, Elevates. I just forget what happened, but it was a late scratching, and it drew barrier 4, and if it happened to be in that race, there's a good chance the favourite mightn't have found the fence, but as I'm saying, wasn't a place to be anyway, it was the only leader, but he could have been trapped 3 wide, might have still won. But he was the only leader to get home, and that wind was very, very strong out of the northeast last night, a very, very strong wind, and as soon as those leaders went out of that back straight, the leaders ran into it, and that didn't help them at all. It made it very, very difficult for those runners to get home, and it'll be quite evident when if you look at the tape, you'll see what I mean. Now, see, there's more section when you do your form. You're going to adjust things to take that into account, and it's only going to benefit you. Now, we got to Rosehill today. It was the twist and twirls day out, and they had the firemen there. All these all the big, strong, muscly firemen. If you do stick a pin in their muscles, they do go and they go down like that. But the girls love having their photos taken with the firemen. It's amazing what how a uniform turns the girls on, the twist and twirls. They turned up there in their the betting ring. It was a thoroughfare, one way and the other way. All these 3-wheelers tripping over and taking had pictures taken with the firemen, and I don't know what the story is there. It's come out to the pub, not to the races. Come out to the pub. It's a big pub. It is the betting ring. There's, you just all it is just noise. No one has a bet. Now, this meeting here today, there wasn't a leader to win. Now, there was a very light breeze, so the breeze had nothing to do with it. It was the hammer and tack. It was the track. The inside was very iffy. We did have a couple of runners sit outside the lead and win, but no leaders got home. We saw Bold Blake Shin kick home a few winners because Horseman Bowman wasn't feeling well, and Blake Shin got a couple of Huey's rides, and he was able to get them home. The first race, we only gave a 98% in the first race. We spread a bit of burley amongst the grumble and grunters to make sure they didn't go home. And what got the cash? I let them lay $1.55 on like a steam tug, and it started. It was 7 to 4 on to 11 to 4 on, $1.55 to $1.35. And even though it only won by 1 length, it had plenty on them. Well, the second horse did lead, so and only got beat the length. You say, oh well, if fence was no good and leading was no good, maybe its run was a bit better than it looked. Well, I think it was too, but jovial Josh Parr, he just sat up the last 50 metres and let this runner roll to the line, and it won like its price suggested. And as I say, we only gave 98. The second race, we only gave 95. We were finding it hard to catch any of those little fishies at the time, so we had to keep on spreading a bit of burley, hoping that our biggest grumble and grunter, who's betting with the, I can't believe it, with the cancer of racing, we're trying to tempt him back to the track by showing him what actually we are betting. If he knew it, if he saw it with his own 2KYs, he wouldn't believe it. What he can get fixed odds with the cancer of racing and what we're offering out at the track. The second race was won by Snow White and the 7 to Wolves. It sat outside the leader, but the Avery here should have got the cash, and that was I'm As a Lady, ridden by Jay Collette. It came out 2 lengths last, and then he found himself in the field of 6, last on the fence, and he got inside Notre Dame, and when he got was easing off heels, he had a bit of a shoulder bumping competition with Notre Dame and T-Berry down to the line. The margins, they failed to catch Snow White, who'd got past the leader, and that was House of Hingers. And the margins were 0.2 by 0.4, and well, the third place getter, ridden by T-Berry, threw in a protest. He said, oh, he took me well off the track, and the protest as third against second was uphill. Gee whiz, I must admit, I used to love betting on protests. I used to bet on the protests like everybody else did. All the captains and all the grumble and grunters, when they pass the line, they still do in England, of course. As soon as they cross the line in England, if there's a protest, up go the prizes on the board, and you can bet along merrily, merrily, merrily. The Stipes over there, they don't mind. They stopped it here because they reckon there were leaks in the Stipes room. Well, they've saved me a lot of money, the Stipes, by not letting me bet on protests, because every time they say the protest is upheld, I think it should be dismissed, and every time they dismiss it, I think it should be upheld. So I'm glad I don't bet on the protests anymore, because I get it wrong every single time. Anyway, the favourite, after missing the kick and staying on the fence and easing off heels, and not a very fast run race, that was the downfall of it not getting the section. We got to race 3. We must have attracted a few shrimp, because we gave 103. There must have been a few shrimp swimming around in the marketplace. 103% we gave here. And who won the race? Well, it was won by the Avery, Church Boy. And you think he didn't give this a ride, Blake Shin. He jumped out, and they let the young girl Miss Heather Pollard go to the lead on Kazoom, ran a bit of a race, and then was back too from 60s into 40s. And then led originally on the fence Moral Victory. Wasn't the place to be, and then it got around and led Kazoom, but stayed away from the fence, turning for home. And Moral Victory then got to its outside, but looking at the pair all of that time, by the time they got to the turn, always sitting in third position, was the favourite, Church Boy. He eased off the heels. He won by a length, and it came right along close to the fence, Abasso, so its run must have been all right, finishing so close to the fence. And the second favourite here, Frespinol, well, he got back in the field, and well, he had a little bit of a bumping match, but he's a bit one-paced, and Church Boy out-sprinted him. Now we got to race 4, 102. We gave here, and what was the story? Oh, the second pick. Now, this was a bit of a result for the captains. I'll tell you why. Because bar it and say Title, who was 50s out to 100, and Houseman, who was 15s to 20s, every other runner in this race was backed. The winner, Dothraki, ridden by Bold Blake Shin, sat back in third last position, eased off the heels, turning for home, sprinted very well, and he sailed down the outside. Once he got clear of the leaders, got past them, he ducked in a bit, and won by a length. And the runner that was who he came off its back, Goldstone, did finish up running second. And the favourite here, Green Beret, trained by Joe Pride. They said the rider said it felt flat. It was sitting in third position, very disappointing. The rider said that the hard run that it had last start, and it did have a hard run last start, 3 wide in a fast run race, could have knocked it about a bit. And he also said it performs better on wet tracks, which is also correct. But this winner, Dothraki, we put up $3.50, faith to 2 bar, and got out to $4.40 towards the end of betting. It was fairly hard to lay. The favourite, we put it up 11 to 8, $2.30, got out to $2.60, but came back into its opening quote, $2.30 at the end of betting. But there were, as I say, numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the bottom 2, even though roughies, they were all backed. And they more or less left the second pick to the captains, and it could have been a result. The 5th race, only 95. All those shrimp and the sardines have swum straight out of the betting ring again. So we had to throw the Burley out again, and we only offered 95 here. And who won the race? How in the hell did it win? It won by 0.1 of a length, beating another runner by 0.3, and it was only a half a length away to the 4th place getter. So the first 4 went across the line. There was only a half a length between them. But who stuck its bib out and lasted to win right on the line was the favourite, Malice, the only 4-year-old in the race. He sat in a beautiful position, eased off their heels, got past the leaders turning, or halfway up the straight, and ridden by Sam Clipperton, just lasted to beat Midnight Summer, who came off its back, and very cheekily ridden by Bold Blake Shin, Permit, who went up near the lead and forced the issue all the way. It was only beaten 0.3 of the length. I was $41. You wouldn't see that. I was 41 when they jumped. It was 18 out to 41, and I didn't think it could win. I laid it for a hatful, and it was only beaten 0.3 of the length. And the rider of the 4th horse, Beyond Thankful, Jay Collette, he said he erred by not staying where he was and waiting for the run. It's easy now. He made the decision when he was going for a split in between, I think it was Lucky Chappie, or it could have been, it was actually Malice, and between Malice and Permit. All of a sudden that gap started to close, and he eased off the heels, and when he did, he's a bit one-paced, like most of the others. He lost his momentum, and he was only beaten a half a length. If he would have got through there, well, we might have heard another Mother and the Glory. It could have been a different result. But For the Grumble and Grunters, the favourite got home. Race 6, 102, and who won this race? The very well-backed Heart Tester. They said they were going to ride it closer today. No, horseman Huey Bowman wasn't aboard. Bold Blake Shin was aboard, another replacement for Bold Blake Shin, and got it home. And what a ride he gave it. Well, the boy who might come back as a bit of a greyhound, like Serge Lisney, is Marlon Delendo. He only knows one thing, Marlon. He jumps out and he runs. And that's what he did on Road to Summer. He has won his last 4 or 5 doing the same thing, but he went very fast today. He said it wouldn't come back underneath him, and it pulled on him, and it went very quick. It's going for a spell. Bold Blake Shin was looking at him early, but he said, "Now listen, son, I've got a better clock in my melon than you have, and I know that you're going far, far too fast. This race is 1,350 metres, not 350 metres." So he let Marlon Lendo run along at his merry pace, and Bold Blake Shin, he got out the pipe and he just let his horse just roll along merrily, looking at the leader. And then, well, it must have been 4 lengths clear, 5 lengths clear at about 600, and it was another 3 lengths clear, another 3 lengths back to the third horse, King Cobia, who finished up running third. The leader wasn't a place to be, staying on the fence. It ran third last, beaten 6.9 lengths. After they turned for home, Bold Blake Shin, it was gone, the leader. He sailed past it. He flattened out. He got a winning break and was able to win by only 0.8 of a length from coming along the fence from barrier 1 Neuro. So its run was better than the look because it stayed near the 18 pence. Now look, I told you before, you've got to put some section in my bag for all this. This is very valuable information. I've got all this information won out, you know. Nobody else knows this except me. And now everyone who watches this show, there's only about 6 of you, you all know as well. Now, only tell your best friend. Don't tell anybody else. And tell them to only tell their best friend as well. Race 7, Joe Pride had a run in this race. It was Win Some More. Well, they didn't win any, and they did lead, which wasn't a place to be. And the flux in this race on Win Some More were 11-2. And don't worry about the SP. I think it might be only $10, 9-1. I was $16 when they jumped, or 15. What is the difference? Not even 0.5%. I was 14-1, $15 when they jumped, and I was yelling out, "Would the owners of Win Some More please step forward?" No one showed their face. They must have backed at SP. It's the old trick, you know. Tell everyone, "Oh, we've got no hope, we can't win." The word goes around, and of course it blows like a gale. And the captains, they don't lay it on course. But the poor old SP bookies from years gone by, they said, "How in the hell did it get from 650 out to 14s? 11-2 to 14s? Oh, those maniacs on course. We've got to pay 14-1 this, and they've got a skinner on it, and we've got all the cashier SP for it." Oh, no. Well, it didn't win. It led, wasn't a place to be. Pulled up with a poor rate recovery. Here, Bold Blake Shin. No, what am I talking about? Yes, Bold Blake Shin on Vasca. How in the hell did this horse get beat at Gosford that day by that Hulk Henry? Hulk Henry gave it windburn that day at Gosford. I can't believe it. And Vashka's come out and won its last 2 starts now. Bold Blake Shin sat outside the leader. And when they turned for home, he got past it very quickly. The well-backed O'Reilly's Revenge, who drew barrier 15, or drew barrier, it was second from the outside. That's 3. It must have drawn, it drew about 13 or 12 in a field of, no, it drew 13 in a field of 14, and it was trapped 3 wide all the way. And the runner who was on its outside was Nizrock. It was the reason that number 1 didn't get the cash here, Commanding Wet. Now, the margin was 2.3 lengths between first and second. As we know, Vashka, when it shot clear, the race was over. But if you have a close look, When it was going forward, Commanding Whip was going backwards because he tried to shoulder his way out with Nizrock on his outside, ridden by T. Marshall, and he said no. He said, "You're not getting out of that pocket, K. Jennings, 2 3-kilo boys," and he pushed him back when he tried to shove his way out on Commanding Whip. And when he got shoved back in, he lost all of his momentum, and he was literally going backwards when the winner was going forwards. And forward, not forwards, forward. And the winning break all of a sudden became far too big for Commanding Whip to make up the ground. But he did make up plenty of ground. If he would have been able to get out at the top of the straight and not been held in that pocket and lose all of his momentum, even though the margin is big, 2.3 lengths, I dare say he would have got the chocolates. In that race, we only gave 96%, only 96. There were very, very few grumble and grunters in the marketplace, I can tell you now. They were all inside betting with the robots. The robots had them. They were packed to the rafters inside in the grandstands. You couldn't move in there. Oh, the robots were sitting there with plenty of purr on the board, sitting there saying, "Oh, we're Captain Cookies." They're not Captain Cookies, you know what. Anyway, that was how it was the unlucky run of their Commanding Whip. Race 8, only the neat 100. We bet the even spot, less the Toyota Lexus. And who won this race? The very well backed Mesmerizer. Evident again that the leaders got away from the fence, turning for home. It was right directly behind the leader on the fence, the second horse, Vanilla Princess, ridden by Winona Constant, trained by Ione, the lead. Of course, went to the lead. It only got beat half a length running third. When she turned for home, Winona, she didn't want to stay near the 18 pence. She got to a good 5 horses off the fence, and he didn't stay close to the fence either. The second horse, Miss 10 Pins, ridden by C. Lever, he just kept on edging out and got up, finish up on the outside of it was on the inside of the favourite, Vanilla Princess, but it started second favourite, Vanilla Princess. It started favourite Mademoiselle, ridden by Bold Blake Shin. Missed the kick. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But anyway, always getting a good run, half carting off the track, even though it appeared to be wide. He was half carting on the back of Sunday Too Far, who missed the kick and there was made a bit of use of to get up outside the lead, was the winner, Mesmerizer. And he was, it looked like he was going to win when he got up on the inside on Miss 10 Pins to get past the leader, Vanilla Princess, but right near the line, T. Clark, out where it was a little bit better going, I suppose, on Mesmerizer, was able to win by about the head margin. When the gates opened, it came out poorly. Mademoiselle, it was in third last position, turning for home, eased to the outside by Bold Blake Shin, but the margin to run down the leaders was far too far, and I dare say if it comes out of the barriers, it would have lobbed midfield because it gave them a big start and was only beaten 1.8 lengths. I'm back on the Pooty Blue. If he comes to Steak and Kidney, that swine Pooty, fair dinkum, fancy sending the section via Nigeria. You think I'm mad? Think I'm going to fall into that? Still hasn't arrived. Anyway, right near the line, we've got Mesmerizer nosing out Miss 10 Pins, and as I said, it missed the kick, Mademoiselle. Comes out of the barrier, could have sat in a fairly good position, wide with a bit of cover, and possibly could have won the race. That's what it's all about. You've got to make up your own mind whether it would have won the race, it would have come out of the barrier, or it would have, or what would have happened. That's why we all have different opinions when it comes to trying to get the section. Good evening.